Hi, this is Paul. This video I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks for using the renter mixer cabinet in Fellowship Hall for your event so that you don't have any problems and everything is left in a good condition for the next renter that comes along to use it. First off, we have these two sheets that are in the cabinet that give you directions. One is for setting up audio to the projector if you're showing a video and you want it to be the audio to go through the speakers on the wall. This one is for just turning on, turning off, using the renter mixer cabinet equipment for your event for a variety of different purposes. Let's talk about the renter mixer itself. When you first come in, you're going to unlock the cabinet here and just pull this down, and this is the mode it will be in when you're running your event. There's a few pieces of equipment in here that you need to know what they are. These are all in that document, but just to be clear, this is the mixer itself. It's the renter mixer. This is the receiver for that wireless microphone. And this is a switch that controls what's feeding the audio to the speakers. That'll be clear in a minute. This is the power supply that feeds all the equipment. And this way back here, that white panel up there, that's the switch to turn on the speakers. When you first come in, everything is off, and you're going to turn on the power strip here with a switch that's way back here on the top back corner, and that turns on all the equipment in the cabinet. So you see the lights on, and lights on. And this piece of equipment, you want to make sure is green. That should be green, that should be green. Then everything is good to go. This, for the renter mixer itself, you've got some controls that are for the microphone. This is for the microphone, these three. This shapes the tone, low and high, how much bass, how much treble you want coming out of the mic. If it's too boomy or too bright, you can control it there. And this is the volume of the microphone feed itself into the mixer. When we start, we just basically leave everything straight up here. This, however, is the volume of the whole program. So this channel of microphone feed then goes into this, and it gets mixed with whatever is coming in here on this little input, which is where you're going to feed computer or phone or any other kind of electronic source of audio. So this volume controls that mix. You generally are not going to need very much more than that, but when it starts out, when you turn things on, you're going to make sure this is all the way down so that nothing gets popped as it gets turned on, so the speakers don't get damaged. Okay, then the next thing you're going to do is turn on the speakers after you've turned on the microphone. And that's that switch that goes up. And you'll know for sure because up here, the green light on the speaker goes on. There you go. Then you're going to plug in your equipment or use the microphone and go on with your show. Use the microphone, you pull it out of here, make sure that this light is on. It should be on. If not, there's a power button right here. You have to hold it till the light goes on, but we leave that on, never turn it off. On the microphone itself, there's a button right here, and you're going to press it down, that green light comes on, and you're going to be sending audio. And you know that because when you tap it, you can see the little green light flicker. That's the input to the receiver. So we know we are sending audio, and you can hear it on the speaker too. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave that on for a second.
If you need more volume from the mic, just turn up the mic gain knob here. If you want a louder overall volume of your mic and music mixed to the speakers, turn up the audio program knob here.
At the end of your event, you're going to want to turn this all the way down and turn the microphone off if it's on, just by holding that down till the light goes off, put it in its cradle. And then in this order, and this is important actually, you're going to turn off the speakers first, and that's the wall switch back here. Right there, goes down. Speaker lights off, then you turn off the power strip. Close it up and lock it. It's as easy as that. Now let's say you want to also play audio music, for example, from a computer or a laptop or iPad or phone or any other kind of electronic playback device. I'll show you how to do that. In the renter mixer cabinet is this drawer. Just pull it out. And all of the cables and adapters that you could probably need in order to connect your device into the renter mixer are here. We try to keep them neatly coiled, not tightly coiled, so that they don't get kinked up. But everything we could think of as far as what you might need to connect your device is in here. First up is this little pouch, and it has a video adapter for connecting the projector or your laptop audio, and some different plugs to connect various things. Then there's cables in here to do pretty much whatever you would want. For our case, I'm going to connect my iPad into the mixer. So I'm going to grab this cable, which has a USB-C connector on one side and a mini jack there, which is a 3.5 millimeter jack on the other end, which is what the mixer takes. So taking this connector, it goes into my iPad. Of course, yours might use a different connector, but that's fine. There's different cables for various things. Mine goes right there. I take the other end, which is this mini jack, and that goes, mini plug, and that goes right in here. Boom. We're now connected. Then I'm going to turn the system on, turn on the power. So now it's lit up. I turn on the speakers on the wall switch. So they're on now. And then I should be able to play. So I go over to my laptop or my iPad and hit play. And then I go over to the mixer and I give it some volume. And there we are. Now it's very possible to play both audio from an electronic source like my iPad and the microphone at the same time. First, I'm going to grab the microphone. I've already turned it on, but it's just this switch here. That turns it off, that turns it on. Okay, now that's on. And I give it enough level on the mixer so that I can hear myself at the level that I want for my event. So I'm going to just go ahead and adjust up a little bit. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, that's great. So that's pretty loud, and that's what I'm going to want for that. Then I'm going to turn the music on over here. And that's a little loud for me. So there's two things I can do there. And what I'm going to do that's the easiest is turn it down here. So now I've got a nice little background bed of music that I can talk over. If you want a different ratio, then you can just go ahead and play with the various, the controlling the audio coming out of your device, controlling the level of the microphone with the level knob, which is this one, and then the overall volume of both right here. It's that easy. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how to coil the cables that are in the drawer for you to use for the renter mixer. And this is a guideline that you should use for your own cables as well. Here's an example of a very long cable. This is a 25-foot audio cable with 3.5 millimeter jacks or mini jacks, mini plugs, on both sides, that was coiled as tightly as possible. And this is exactly the wrong way to coil any cable. The goal is not to get it to fit in as small a place as possible. The goal is to neatly and loosely coil it so that you don't permanently create a kink in the cable, which is what this kind of coiling does. Often when people who don't know better are coiling, they'll hold the cable like this, and I'm guessing that's what this renter did, and just wrap it around their hand. That's a terrible, terrible way, and it's destructive to the long-term use of any cable. For audio and video cables, we use what's called the over-under method, which is a little tricky to master, but I'll show it to you. So I'm going to go ahead and unravel this mess. And as you see, this is how it unrolls because it was coiled up that way. Just a big, huge rat's nest of cable that you have to then go through and unkink and try to get to, and it's all twisted. You see, it's twisting around. Those twists should not be in the cable. Once you coiled it and once you uncoil it, it should just be straight and flat. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do this one time to get all the kinks and twists in the cable from the last person who rented this box. So we get all the twists out, and then we're ready to coil it. I'm putting it back the other way because I like to start with the Velcro in my hand. So this is the way, we've got the Velcro there, and that's there. So this is fairly simple, but we want a coil that's about that big for a cable this long, and it'll fit in the drawer nicely, and also will not permanently kink the cable. So we just, see how I'm holding it with my finger. There's going to be alternating twists to my wrist. Once I'm going this way, and the other way I'm going that way. This way, that way. This way, that way. All right? So that way, this way, that way. So it's just back, forth. Each time I'm twisting my hand a different way, okay? Start it over. There, 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 there. You see these are bigger coil loops than they had before, and that's going to be very good for the cable and allow this cable to work and be serviceable to all the renters of BFUU for, a decade or more. But with it coiled tightly and kinked, it loses its ability to be useful and helpful because it starts kinking and it's hard to run over long distances without being a tripping hazard within 6 months. So it's a big deal, and we would appreciate your effort in this. And that, and there. Okay, we're done. Then we use this, just tie it together, and we have a nice and neat coil, just the right size to fit in the drawer. There we go. I hope this video has been helpful in your ability to use this equipment successfully and have a stress-free experience in setting up and wrapping after your event, and that everything works properly. If you still have some questions, or there's any areas of this use of this box that you don't quite understand, reach out to the BFUU rooms renter person, your contact person. Right now is Sharon. And if needed, she can reach out to me as well, and we'll make sure that you're able to use this equipment successfully and also protecting it for future use. Best regards.